My next guest is on the phone. First time we've talked. Know of his work. Is a former NFL wide receiver turned filmmaker who played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cincinnati Bengals, Carolina Panthers, and the Baltimore Ravens. He retired in 2007 and moved to LA to pursue a career in entertainment. Since then, he has gone on to direct music videos, short films, feature films, television, and web series. He's an NFL alum, director, Monkey Paw production films and television executive, and author of what I just read it last night called Hair Love. He currently is a television executive, like I stated earlier, with Monkey Paw Productions. Please welcome to Money Making Conversations, my man Matthew A. Cherry.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, you got a lot going on, to be a former football player.
A couple things. A couple things.
First of all, a sport that a sport that I would never play because physically, uh, I don't know. I looked at it this weekend. I'm going, how do y'all do it? So, do you look back, Matthew, and go, how did I do it, or why did I do it?
No, not at all. I think it's just some people, like when you're growing up, you live in certain environments and neighborhoods, and it's kind of what all your friends are doing, and you want to kind of stay off the streets and make sure that you have something else going on, and football growing up in Chicago was kind of that for me. So no, not at all.
Chicago. I was in Chicago. I lived in Chicago. I was producing, executive producing Steve Harvey's talk show from 2012
Yep.
to 2016. And my man, I got clothes, winter clothes, that I had to buy in Chicago that I wear nowhere else.
Hilarious. Yeah, it gets pretty frosty out there.
So, do you miss the cold? That's all I'm asking. Do you miss the cold of Chicago, my friend?
No, I live in LA now, so don't miss it at all.
Yep. So let's talk about you getting started in this business because, like I said, everybody stereotypes individuals. You're a football player. When you start trying to get out of that window, people can look at you like, why, how, is that even possible? I liken that to the fact that I come from the inner city, Matthew, and my degree is in mathematics. I wanted to be a stand-up comic, and people would look at me like, okay, stand-up comic, you're not Richard Pryor. You're not Red
Right.
Fox. So people always want to block you. I always tell people you have to be careful of the people who you might consider your family or your loved ones or your best friends, because they can be the first people to throw out the negative statements, can throw out the blocks. So
Right.
when did you start developing these skills that I introduced you as directing and editing? 'Cause all that comes into play. When did you start developing these skills?
It was something I was always interested in, man. Probably as early as high school. I remember wanting to, kind of join like the radio and the TV club that they had at my school. And, I majored in radio and TV broadcast in college. So, I knew that, always knew eventually whenever I got done playing sports that, this would be my kind of long-term career. And it was just kind of a matter of what the approach might be. But, I always knew.
Now, would I say all this? So you no longer play professional football. You say you moved to Los Angeles. Now, did you move with established relationship, or you moved out there just to, you say, hey, man, this is where I'm supposed to be. I got to go and get my feet wet and start making it happen.
Yeah, when I was playing ball, I actually came out to LA for the first time in like '05 when I was with the Bengals, and this radio personality that I worked with in Cleveland at the radio station out there basically asked if I wanted to come out for the BET Awards and just kind of hang out. And I was like, this would be a good opportunity to kind of get eyes on, the city and kind of see what it's like. And I just love that it was just all about production, like the coffee shops, you got nothing but writers in there writing scripts, even the print and copy stores, they offering discounts on headshots and script printing. And it just felt right. And I was lucky enough to meet a person who was a part of this program called Streetlights. And Streetlights is this nonprofit organization that kind of helps men and women of color get jobs as production assistants in the industry, like in mostly the commercial world.
Right.
And basically, met her, we vibed, asked her if she would kind of put me down as a reference, and she did. And I applied to this program, and I got in. And so when I moved to LA, this was kind of like the only really relationship that I had coming out there. And I kind of came out here knowing that I was going to be doing this like production assistant training program. And, as you know, production assistants, like you do all the odd jobs, like taking
I
out
know
the
what
garbage,
a PA is.
moving the director's chairs, getting the talent out the dressing room, bringing them to stage, like stuff like that. But, it's a great opportunity to actually physically get on set and to kind of see what everybody does and try to figure out what it is that you may want to do for a living.
We know it's really important that you said that because, a lot of people, they have standards. I'm not going to do that, but I tell people when you, as a production assistant on the set, they always call them PAs. And,
PAs, yep.
And so you get to really get into some areas where you wouldn't normally get if you were just a producer. Because a PA
Right.
can, plus you can like get into writers' rooms. You can ask productions. You can sit down next to a director, but you have to have your game plan. You can't be annoying. You have to be a person that doesn't look too comfortable, because a lot of people want to just sit down. In other words, you almost got to be in the back of the room and blend in. And a lot of people don't understand that. I always tell people in my life, I don't always, and you might be the same way with you, Matthew. It's not about the financial opportunity; it's about the opportunity. Now, it's what you do with that opportunity that can lead to a financial opportunity. And a lot of people don't understand that just getting in the door. He said that really clear. And that's why I try to make sure people who come on my show, let them know the end results. Black Klansman is the end result. Okay? And plus, that's not his end. I shouldn't even say that. That's one of his accomplishments that we all are aware of. But before that, he was just a PA.
Yeah.
And a PA.
Well, and that's the thing, though, about PAing. It's like, sometimes when you come out there and you kind of think you already know what you're doing, sometimes that can hinder you because, like, you may be closed off to kind of all these other opportunities, And being a PA is just such a great way to just, like, literally spend a little time with every department. And kind of, okay, do I want to get in hair and makeup? Do I want to be a grip or electrician? You know what I mean? Like, you really can kind of find your whatever it is that you're trying to get into long term,
Absolutely. So, Matthew, let's talk about hair love, okay? Like I said, I have a daughter, my wife, I've done my attempts over the years. My daughter said, don't mess with my hair no more, Dad. Please stop, okay? That's not what you do, okay? I love you, but leave my hair alone. What was the motivation behind hair love?
Well, it was a couple of years ago, back in 2017, I, very, very active on social media, and I just really noticed this trend. I kept coming across all these videos of specifically African-American fathers doing their daughter's hair.
Yes.
And, I always like trying to share a lot of family-friendly content on my social media. And I was just noticing this trend of where every time I shared like a video of a mom interacting with their kid, they would do well because a lot of times the videos were cute. But it was every time it was a black dad and a black daughter, or a black dad and their kid, period, they always just like overperformed. And
yes, it is. Yes.
I just really just noticed, it seemed like it was kind of this double-edged sword because, like, obviously the videos are very cute and touching, but I kind of learned that it was also because people weren't used to seeing black men depicted in this light. You know what I mean? Like, we get all these negative stereotypes in the media, like we're not around for our kids and, et cetera. And so them seeing like these dads that were taking the time to do their daughter's hair, it kind of felt like an anomaly. Right. And for me, like I'm not a father yet, but I have a lot of friends that are young fathers, and it's not an anomaly to them. Like rent is expensive everywhere. And often nowtimes, both parents have to work. And so mom got to leave early or got to go out of town for something. Dad got to step up. You're not going to just let your kids go to school or wherever looking crazy, right? You got to get it together. So, just kind of.
I think that's what my daughter said. I had her looking crazy there, but I did step up though. I did step up, Matthew. Hey, Matthew, we're gonna be right back because I want to tell everybody about this short film as well, which currently has over 10 million views and was released December 5th. Wow. We're right back with more of my man Matthew A. Cherry, changing the game on how people view things and how people, you can do it. You start here and go there. You can make a transition in life and not be afraid to be successful someplace else. We'll be right back with more money-making conversations. Hi, this is Rushion McDonald, and you're listening to Money Making Conversation. Talking to a former NFL wide receiver, transitioned, made a decision. Hey, I went to school for this. Uh, we all know that when you're dealing with athletics, there's a window, so you have to plan for that next life. His next life was to go to L.A., leave. He was born in Chicago, so he knew about that cold weather. So he knew there had to be an exit plan away from that cold weather. And so he went to L.A., where he still resides, and Monkey Paw Productions, where he resides, television executive. And he created this book called Hair Love, and then this short film called Hair Love. And he posted it December 5th on YouTube, and now it currently has over 10 million views. I ask you, Matthew A. Cherry, did you expect that?
You know, I don't think you can ever predict kind of how a thing will be received. I mean, we had a little indication that it'd be well received because we had a theatrical release in front of Angry Birds 2 back in August. It was like August 14th, I believe, was the date. And, got a lot of love. It was kind of a universal, good reception. Families of all different backgrounds and types seemed like they were digging it and feeling it. And so the thing I was most excited about when it came to putting it online was just, it getting access to audiences that, kind of don't have the resources to go to the movies every week. And, just getting it out there even more, even internationally. And so, it's been a crazy reception for sure.
Now, let's talk about bringing this project to animation. Talk about that process.
Yeah, so we did a Kickstarter campaign for it 2 years ago. It was kind of in part just because, like, this being a medium I'd never done before, animation, I knew that it would be hard for me to go to different studios and try to pitch it outright, and especially it being like a simple story about a dad doing their daughter's hair,
Right.
I knew it would be something I would have to show people as opposed to telling them. And so we did this Kickstarter campaign, and it just took off like crazy. Like, we ended up raising almost $300,000 in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Our initial goal was 75, and we kind of blew past that goal. And it was just insane. We ended up getting a book deal through our Kickstarter campaign, through Penguin Random House. And, it really was just about putting a really great team together. So, in animation, as you may or may not know, like, it's not the most diverse field in entertainment, you know what I mean? And,
Yes,
I
sir.
only really knew of 2 or 3 people of color, or Black people specifically, that were working in the field. And because it's centered on the Black dad and the Black father, I thought
Yes.
it'd be really important to try to get as many people, Black in that field kind of involved with the project. So one of the first people I reached out to was Peter Ramsey, who's one of the co-directors on Into the Spider-Verse, which won the Oscar last year. And then this other Black animator named Frank Abney, who worked at Pixar. And, long story short, looking at different places where to get the short done, we ended up getting this relationship with Karen Tolliver, who at the time was working at Fox, who ended up moving over to Sony. And she, eventually, it was just very organic. Like, we were just working on the characters, developing it. And eventually, Sony ended up just really being helpful and ended up distributing the film in front of Angry Birds 2. And then now they're kind of helping us with our Oscar campaign.
Cool. This is really special. Congratulations. I'm talking to Matthew A. Cherry. His project Hair Love is an animated short film about an African American father trying to do his daughter's hair for the first time, and it plays
Yep.
out. Now, at the end of the video, I want to say that's the mom.
You say what?
That's the mom character that's in
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that has no hair, and
Yep.
that plays an important role in it. And why was that? Why was that a part of the story?
It really was just about kind of character development. Like, you have this young girl who obviously has grown up with her mom being this really popular natural hair blogger, and now she's waking up knowing it's a special day. And, it's like kind of the one thing that she can't do on her own. We try to establish her, like, she's able to get up and get dressed and, kind of get her day started. But the one thing she can't do is her hair, and she has to enlist her father. And for me, it was just really about, like, what would be the most touching kind of gesture that this young girl who knows how much her mom's hair meant to her
Right.
could do when they're going to pick her up from the hospital. and the act of her getting her dad to do her hair in a style that, she really liked that her mom did for her, and also presenting that picture that showed that, no matter what, whether you have hair or you don't have hair, I still see you as a queen. Because it's a real thing, when Black women, you end up getting sick and you lose your hair, like it's a really big thing that, a lot of people tend to be so conscious about. And we just wanted to show that kind of regardless, whether you had natural hair, your hair was straight, you didn't have hair at all, that, you're still beautiful and, kind of doing that through the daughter.
Excellent work, man. The animation is very clean, very clean. The story is funny. It's engaging. It feels real. When the father looks across and sees all of those hair care products on that shelf in the bathroom, as a father who makes that attempt for the very first time, it probably is 5 times that, because you just don't know what to do. You don't know what step to go, and your daughter's looking at you going, they know you don't know. First of all, they know you don't know. They know confusion, okay? And they start questioning you because for the first time in your life as a father who's making an attempt to do that, you're not very confident in your effort. Not confident in your effort. And so when I look at this, man, first of all, I just want to say congratulations because what you're doing is, first of all, being able to transition to reinvent yourself and to do a project like this that is being considered for awards, that is being like you said, translating and making people feel they can do this too. Just a simple concept that's turning the heads out there. But you tied to one of the most popular production companies in the world, Monkey Paw Production, which is Jordan Peele's production company. Us, Get Out, Twilight Zone. You've been you worked on the now Academy nominated project, Black Klansman. What do you want to do? What is your goal? We was a former NFL football player, we was a former PA. Now you got this hot animated project out there. You've executive produced the Black Klansman. What do you want to do, my friend?
I'm kind of doing it now. It's just, for me, it's just continuing to create projects that kind of elevate and humanize Black people, be that in any medium, be that animated, live action, TV or film. I'm directing television now too. So I just did an episode of Blackish that'll be coming out around Valentine's Day. Just booked a big movie that hasn't been announced yet, but I'm really excited about, and trying to figure out a live action feature as well. So just continue to work and kind of reinvent myself, man. That's really the goal and the dream.
Now the dream. Now the last OG, that's you.
Yeah, I was a co-producer and a director on that show too. So, yeah, it's been really great.
Listen, Matthew, you need to stop being humble. This is a humble interview, Matthew. This is a humble interview. You got it going on, my man. The reason I say that because I'm Hollywood. I went out to Hollywood in 1990. I know, when they buried all the sitcoms on WB and UPN.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Where they use us as starter kits. And when I see you are in a for a guy of your talents is at Hollywood at a good time, where we can start telling our stories. When I look at TV commercials, I see interracial people on TV, dating, buying insurance together, buying cars together. Where only a couple of years ago, when a little mixed race black girl went in a room for Cheerio, they wanted to shut down Cheerios. You know what I'm saying? That ain't that far from that. And to be able to see stories that are being told by Ava DuVernay, and to hear this right here, you're saying, you're comfortably saying, I want to tell African American stories. Because now there's a demand or need or request for that type of content. That has to make you feel good.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think, nowadays, like, you're talking about back in the day with like the CW and the WB and UPN and all that, like, now there's so many more networks and places that are doing original content. So, it's just kind of like a byproduct of that. Like, the more outlets that need content, the more opportunities that, Black creators and creators of color are going to have to be able to tell their stories and, hopefully do them in a good way that, makes their people look good. So, just want to continue that. People like Ava DuVernay and Jordan and Barry Jenkins, are all kind of been mentors to me and people who I really just admire and want to follow in their footsteps. So,
well, I'm gonna tell you something. You are a special talent. If I can compliment you in that manner and you accept it, my wife always tells me I don't know how to say thank you when people compliment me because of the fact that some of the things I'm just doing what I love to do, and
yep,
and you're doing what you love to do. Sometimes you don't understand that what you have a unique talent and you're accomplishing things that are not normal. And
yep.
I feel fortunate that you called my show so I can share your story. And know in the future when that big movie come out that you can't say right now, that you come back on Money Making Conversation so we can talk about that too. Okay?
Yeah, no doubt, man. No, definitely. You know, you got me, man. It's all good.
I appreciate you, Matthew A. Cherry.